Hey, we're up to part 2, question 3 of our Learning Python little course here. And we are plowing through them. We are plowing through them really quickly. You should have a good sense of this now. If you want to jump ahead and do these by yourself and think you've got a pretty good grasp of it, do that. I am going to do all of these for completeness sake. If you want to plow on ahead and move on to the next part, after you've done these questions yourself, that is fine. Okay, question 3. A landscape gardening firm charges $65 per tonne for topsoil and $25 for the use of a trailer to carry it in. Note here, the user will always use the trailer. They bring their own, too bad. You're always paying the $25 for the trailer. We're not asking them if they're using the trailer. Write a program to calculate the amount paid by customers buying any amount of topsoil they input. This input should be saved in a variable. The output should list the amount of topsoil purchased, the cost of the topsoil, and the total cost, with a suitable label so that the user understands the bill. That actually seems a little bit easier than our last 2 questions, so we should be able to crack on into it. Okay, we need a variable. I'm calling it topsoil, and my keyboard is playing up, but no, it is fine. And I'm saying topsoil is an integer input. Integer input of how much do you need? How much topsoil do you need? In tons. In tons. Or else, Jesus, they might put it in cube, or they might put it in anything else. We're working in tons today. Second thing we need is, that's actually all we need. So what we need to output then is, should we do this the quick way? Possibly. Why not? Let's do it the quick way. Let's say first thing we need to output is, so let's say print oh my goodness, what is happening today? Topsoil purchased. And I've done the thing where I've forgotten to put in quotation marks, so I highlight it, and pro tip, shift quotation marks, boom. It automatically wraps it around for me. Nice little handy thing if you forget to do that. Comma and topsoil. OIL. My keyboard is having a little argument with me today, but we will muscle on through. The amount of topsoil purchased, the cost of the topsoil. Oh, cost of topsoil is going to be topsoil. Oh my goodness, why don't we just officially change its spelling to that so I just don't stop getting it wrong. Topsoil times, and it's going to be what, times 65. We might actually just put a little space here and put a little money sign there. I think that'll look quite nice. And I think we're lastly but not leastly, cost of the topsoil, total cost with suitable labels. So we now need to go print total cost, and we're just going to say, this is what happens when you, because we've done this the short way today, where we're doing the calculations in the print statement, we've done a calculation here where we've calculated the cost of the topsoil, and then we have printed it out. Now we haven't saved that in a variable, so it's gone. We can't access that anymore. So we have to do it again. This sort of violates the don't repeat yourself, don't repeat yourself, don't repeat yourself principle of programming. We'll get by today. one more time. I'm getting my fingers mixed up. Topsoil times 65. And what are we missing? We are missing that $25 charge for the use of the trailer. Looks good. 4 lines of code. Nice, neat. And let's give it a shot. Oh, wow. I still hadn't managed to get rid of all of those. OIL. I think that was literally every time I typed it. What a record. How much topsoil do you need in tons? I need 0.5. I should be able to do that. I need 0.5 tons. Invalid literal. I put a space in there, didn't I? One more time. I can't do 0.5, you know why? Because that's a float and it wants an integer. So we can only use whole numbers here. That's a problem as well. If you were actually making this program, you might want to change that so they can put in any valid number. At the moment, it's only going to accept whole numbers because we're asking for an integer and not a float. But I need 2 tons. And there we go. Now it's returning everything correctly. Topsoil purchased, cost of topsoil, and total cost. Excellent. Should we very quickly just see if we can make a float? I believe we just do that. Instead of integer, we're going to make it a float. You might say, but now we can't use whole numbers. But in fact, we should be able to. So how much topsoil do I need? I need 3. It actually turns that into a float, which means it has a decimal point. Anything with that decimal dot in computer land, that's a float. So here we go. You see it's returned all of those numbers. They all have that decimal dot too. They're all .0. Yeah, but it's still a float. That's showing you, hey man, this is a float. It is not an integer. But because I've now made that a float, I should be able to say 0.5. And look at that. Everything working correctly, and I can now use decimals as well. So there you go, the difference between an integer and a float. You can now add that to your list of types you know about as well. Excellent. Cool. See you in question 4.